والله تنجيز. So shall we start?
Yes, hello everyone. I would like to start today's side event titled How to Foster Japan-MENA Country Partnership with the panelists, and due to time shortage, I would like to ask our Professor Takeuchi to make the opening remark for this session. Takeuchi Sensei, please.
Distinguished expert speakers and esteemed audience, both here and online from around the world, it is my privilege and great pleasure on behalf of the Institute for Global Environment Strategies, IGES, Japan, and our esteemed counterparts, namely the Islamic Development Bank, ISDB, and the Gulf Research Center, GRC, to welcome you all to this COP27 side event today on the topic of how to foster Japan-MENA countries' partnership toward net zero economics. As you may know, there has been a strategic shift in Japan and many countries in the Middle East and North Africa, MENA, regarding their policies and initiatives related to the energy transition, green economy, and climate change. There is strong interest in a green economy, and countries are clearly expressing their needs, willingness, and the calls for international cooperation. We are seeing substantial opportunities for win-win partnership in areas such as renewable energy and blue and green hydrogen. These then lead to a transformation in energy and industry structure, generating new business, market, and employment opportunities. Japan is certainly keen to collaborate with the countries in the region to develop and transfer innovative technologies to support and accelerate such transformation. Acknowledging the uniqueness of Japan-MENA cooperation, the urgency of action, and the various emerging opportunities, last year, IGES, ISDB, and GRC jointly conducted an exploratory study for climate action opportunities between Japan and the selected MENA countries, initially targeting Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Tunisia. This webinar will share the findings from that study and more broadly discuss how to particularly foster a win-win net zero partnership between Japan and these countries, including the launch of a Japan-MENA Green Business Matching Platform to promote private sector engagement. IGES is a Japanese institution with a global focus, engaged as a change agent, mainly in Asia and the Pacific. We work on policy recommendation and stakeholder engagement, building on strong and long expertise in the field of city-to-city collaboration, business-to-business matching, and policy advocacy. For instance, in 2016, we successfully implemented the Japan-India Technology Matchmaking Platform, JITMAP, connecting Japanese technology supplies and Indian small and medium enterprises, which is, as I said, called the JITMAP. Through this platform, we facilitate over 50 feasibility studies for 5 Japanese technologies in Indian companies, resulting in 21 implementation cases. We also enhanced the awareness and the capacity of several hundred Indian experts, engineers, financiers, and policymakers through 26 seminars, training workshops, and policy level meetings. JITMAT has been recognized by the Ministry of the Environment, Government of Japan, and the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change of the Government of India as an additional tool to support their partnership addressing climate change. We would like to expand this cooperation in the MENA region in collaboration with leading institutions and organizations, including the co-organizers of this webinar. We are sure that we can gain a lot from the valuable insights and recommendations from distinguished experts such as those attending today. We look forward to frank, interactive, and fruitful discussions with them. Let me conclude my remarks by once again thanking each and every one of you for your attendance here today. Thank you again very much for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Takeuchi. Now, after from the welcoming remark, we can see that he is emphasizing or insisting on win-win partnership. So, just to go for today's discussion, for the panel discussion, I would like to start with a very brief presentation for setting the scene. As I said, our discussion today is how to foster Japan-MENA partnership, but the first question will be, before to ask how to foster, is why to foster Japan-MENA partnership. So I think everyone is following the trend now. There is a common interest between in energy transition and climate change in Japan and in the MENA country, and also there is a mutual interest for international collaboration. So beside the interest, also we are building on the momentum, because now, as you know, in Saudi Arabia, almost every week, every month, we have a new initiative, such as the Saudi and Middle East Green Initiative, the first MENA week in UAE. We have the TICAD 8 just a few weeks ago in Tunisia, and COP27 in Japan, Egypt, and COP28 in UAE. So the interest is really high, and as you can see also, there is effort of the trade between the country. You can see there is Japan is the number are not that much encouraging. Of course, we need to help especially the private sector to help them in transferring their technology. So knowing about these needs and acknowledging the importance, so IGES, ISDB, and our esteemed partner, the Gulf Research Center, we conducted some research study, and here we identify some prioritized sector. And as you see, almost are similar, although with some difference. That one is from the demand side, but from the supply side, from the Japan, as you can see, in Japan there is many initiative in terms of technology. There is a lot of databases, there is a lot of financing support and technical support, and also a policy support. But what we understood, that such kind of information is a bit scattered. So how to bring all this information together? IGES, ISDB, and the Gulf Research Center, we thought of launching something called a platform that is within clicks. So any sector, if we take, for example, the energy efficiency sector, and taking Tunisia, you can see within clicks what are the kind of support in Tunisia and what are the needs. And at the same time, we will map what is available in Japan in terms of technology, financing support, in-kind support, and policy support. Everything is within clicks. So this is what we are aiming for. And we cannot do these things only by ourselves. So we think to develop it in collaboration with our counterpart, such as the businesses, financing provider, and policy maker, and the supporting agency from both sides, from Japan and the MENA country. So what we are today's point of discussion is, after I explained why we need, but where to act. So this is the key question, and as well what to do and with whom to work. and also any feedbacks about our initiative. I will just play this photo, and you can see today is the energy day, and everyone I think is energetic. But there is two things. Are we very much ambitious and looking for the green hydrogen, or we should be just realistic also and look for the waste management? Is not hydrogen versus waste management, is hydrogen and waste management. By ending this, my last slides is wondering where to focus. So I would like to start my first question to our esteemed panel. We have Dr. Majid from RICRI. It's a well-known organization. So I would like, after seeing, so I would like first to know from your perspective where we can focus if we are targeting MENA country in terms of what are their needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rabhi, and it's a pleasure being with you today. And the introduction remark highlighted important elements that we can build on for the future. The priorities were listed in front of us, and I 100% agree with what you listed, but keeping in mind that if we are addressing the MENA region, we are not speaking about similar context for each country. The region, in fact, has those oil and gas exporting countries, oil and gas importing countries, and others who are in the middle, on the edge, and somehow we're in a certain point we're importing and exporting based on the discoveries, etc. And each of these countries has its own set of priorities. And designing the regional policy, so there are common issues, but we need to act also on understanding the context within each country. But there are common trends. The common trends, of course, we are seeing a momentum for utility scale projects, large scale projects, starting from Mauritania in the west, passing through Morocco with its leadership, to Algeria, which is in its starting phase, I would claim for that, to Tunisia, which is in the middle, leading energy efficiency, but somehow renewable energy is not on the same momentum, but they are working on that. Coming to Libya with no activities, silent because of the geopolitical context, and coming to Egypt where huge ambitious targets are set, actions are there, and then moving to the Middle East. Within the Middle East, you will see a lot of diversity also. You will see the Gulf countries, the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, prioritizing now sustainable energy, especially renewable energy, as one of the most important areas to keep the leadership of the Arab countries into the energy sector. In parallel to that, you will see countries with fragility situation, and we can have Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Palestine, and each of these has its own context. And the approach of intervention for each of these would differ from the other. So, for the priorities, I see, of course, supporting each country in its set of priorities, but mostly as a major trend in the region, utility scale projects, the work on the adoption of new technologies, and you have highlighted green hydrogen, solar and wind. And I assume that part of the knowledge is providing successful business model, mobilizing private investments, and this would be an area that Japan need to introduce the available financing mechanisms, which are not clear on the agenda. Engagement of private sector, which is really important because we are seeing strong and bold actions with respect to bilateral government to government action. But when you look into the share of private sector into Japanese investment compared to, for example, with the intervention on the European side, EBRD, EIB, etc. So this is the first area. The second area I would think of is, in fact, what you call matchmaking between technology solution providers from both countries. And now the markets are, in fact, in desperate need to solutions that are effective, that are energy efficient, and that are also financially affordable for the citizens. And you have the experience and the technology, and above all, the trust of the MENA region, that whenever we see made in Japan, or designed in Japan,
Yes.
100% we will buy this. We are keen to that, to see that. So this is another area that I would see as a priority. Of course, the momentum toward the green hydrogen. And for green hydrogen, we are seeing different approaches now. For Europe, they are focusing on industries, ammonia, steel, etc. But in the Asian countries in general, Japan, Korea, we are seeing also beside this, we are seeing the transportation sector, the e-mobility, the green mobility. And I believe this is an area that's still untapped on the discussion of green hydrogen. We have seen a lot of memorandum of understandings and agreement signed to export green ammonia, green hydrogen. But the transport sector, which is, in fact, you have a competitive edge and is not that yet there. So I see a possible movement in this direction. And there are other issues, but I would like to give the floor to other colleagues, of course.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Majd. You mentioned something about the private sector. It's like, how is the presence of the private sector in this project? Do you think that is enough engaged, or maybe we need more?
Right now, it is clear to all MENA region, all MENA governments, that relying on the traditional business model will not take us to the new era, whether on energy security, energy sustainability, freeing some oil and gas resources for export. This, with the current business model, it will not work. So now it is more relying on public-private partnerships, and there are innovative business models. And you can see the examples of NEOM, you can see the examples of United Arab Emirates in different initiatives there. You can see the example of Egypt. So having public-private partnership at one hand, having the ecosystem with respect to regulatory framework, with respect to some sort of bundle finance that includes several instruments together. And we are not seeing one body, one financing agency providing all the finance. We are seeing now a bundle of finance.
Okay, thank you. I will come back to you later about the finance and the RICRI initiative in finance. So talking about the private sector and how to engage them, I would like to watch the representative from the private sector. He couldn't make it today, so he made his recorded message is about 6 to 7 minute recording. So please join me to hear our Dr. Nassif from Tunisia, from the private sector. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nasser from Tunisia, and I would like first of all to thank the Institute for Global Environment Strategy and the Islamic Development Bank for this opportunity for me to speak about the private sector contribution to the exchange between Japan and MENA companies. Please allow me to share with you a very short presentation. Focus of my presentation will be mainly on the experience of our company, which is BSB Group of Companies, and also with regards to the Tunisian Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So the BSB company is a family-owned company founded in 1964, and we start our business with Japan very early in 1970. So we're talking here about 50 years experience. The 50 years experience are enough, I think, in my mind anyway, in my point of view, to give you an idea about how to develop a long-term business relationship with Japanese companies. In 1970, we started with the Sharp Corporation. Then at the end of the 70s, we had our first contact with the Toyota Motor Corporation. So BSB Toyota partnership was very much the good experience, and we've been working since then, and for several generations. We implemented Toyota way of working in BSB. I think that's the major benefit that we have in our companies, is to have the Toyota way in all departments. We're talking about human resources, training, technical, management, forecasting, KPIs, how to analyze data, how to forecast the future, how to discuss with the very well-structured companies of Toyota. We're talking about the big multinational. And the most interesting thing is that over the 50 years, we followed the development of Toyota way of doing business in very, very good manner. We introduce little by little the Kaizen management, the Japanese way, very worldwide known, which makes you better, productive company, good quality control. And we also have very good financial support to offer our customers through some formulas that Toyota developed with us, mainly leasebacks and some other financing, and also technical training for our staff, people that join our companies, especially in the technical department. They climb up on competence over years. So say from very new graduate person to become an expert on Toyota way of technologically troubleshooting and information exchange with several platforms that Toyota provide from websites. For the Chamber of Commerce, the Tunisian Japanese Chamber of Commerce, we also provide accessible information to all the people who would like to work with Tunisia, mainly Japanese companies. We also provide information for Tunisian companies that would like to develop business with Japan. Our input is mainly relationship with a very well-known institution and reliable information provider, such as JETRO and JICA and the Japan Business Council for Africa and other multinationals we work with. Also, from the Tunisian side, we have a lot of good relationship with local institutions, local government, local ministries, so we can provide assistance in legal aspects and in business development aspects. We also do some business matching seminars and financial technical policy support for our members. Based on this experience, we can point out that there are two sides of this partnership, the MENA people and the Japan companies and institution, and each one has or should provide what it takes to make the business develop over time and mainly win-win situation. For the local MENA companies and institution, providing accessible data, available data, which might not be available on the regular way that the Japanese know. Local culture is very different from Japanese culture, and that's one point that we should do, and over time to develop the mutual understanding between both cultures, regardless of the country. Matchmaking. It's different from matchmaking with the European companies, because European companies have been working with Tunisia and North Africa in general and MENA for the very long time, whereas Japan and MENA probably for the past 50 years. It's not long time regarding with respect to exchanging between countries. So this information provided from the local MENA countries and MENA institution can be very useful for Japanese companies. From the other side, the Japanese companies provides financial, technical, and policy support. And it's very important to have matchmaking benefit based on these factors, based on these approach. So the solution provided with Japanese could be package solution, that it's financial, technical support, especially in the blue economy, for green economy. These economies are very well, how do you say, needed in North Africa, mainly in North Africa and in Africa in general, and also in MENA. Technology from Japan on these two economies are very much wanted and very efficient. And the need is there. The Tunisian, mainly Tunisia and North Africa in general, have a very serious problems in green and blue economies. And through institution and local technologies from Japan, this can be overcome with mutual benefit for both countries. Let me stress that Tunisia, from Tunisia anyway, BSP companies, a group of companies, and the Tunisian Chamber of Commerce are very good positioned to help and assist you from Japan to start good business in Tunisia, and from our side anyway, and have a win-win situation that can be very much feasible for both of us. So, if I may just summarize the approach that we have and that we suggest and recommend for MENA companies, they have to learn to be patient with Japanese companies. For the one reason is that Japanese culture takes more time to evaluate and and judge the opportunity as opposed to Europeans, which has its qualities, but it also has its drawbacks. Reactivity from Japanese company is needed, and less risk-averse approach is also probably welcome. Faster and more aggressive reactive to change partnership in MENA market, because people here reacting very much. Although the brand of Japan, brand of quality, brand of technology, brand of feasibility, it's also good point for Japanese companies in MENA. When you say Japanese brand, Japanese technology, people are very confident that's going to be very trusted one. But time also is a factor that we have to consider to realize projects, to realize tenders, maybe a government project. Time is very, very much a defining factor. For intermediates like the Global Institute for Environmental Strategy, matchmaking, helping, structuring, helping that is the technology transfer are very crucial. With these intermediaries, business realization can be much faster. Green business matching platform is very nice and very reliable, I think, and very good opportunity. And we hope that it's materialized very soon. Let me explain that the Japanese brand is trusted, and we can rely on that factor to develop business faster and more profitable for everybody. Thank you for your attention. I hope my presentation was clear, and I am available for any information, for any assistance. Thank you again, and see you soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Actually, we have to be thankful for Dr. Nasif. He gave us a really very good presentation. So if I will try very quick to summarize, like from the keynote speech from Professor Takeuchi, he emphasized on the win-win partnership. This is how it should be. And from Dr. Majid, like each country should be addressed on their own way, as well as on their own needs, although they look similar. And also public and private partnership is in place and also is growing. So, and from the private sector, please, if you saw the presentation very well, he said the key things is to engage the private sector. This is how to promote. This is the answer to today's presentation. How to promote, how to foster this partnership is to engage the private sector. And how to engage the private sector? We have to work on two fronts. One front is helping them to make an informed decision through more information, more business matching, more demonstration cases. So this is how we can make them to make a very informed decision. And the other front, because it's a private sector, they need a return. They need for their investment, how to make them to make a profitable business is through financial technical support as well as other support from the government. So hearing from the private sector, they need more of business matching. It helped me to go directly to our distinguished representative from JETRO, Mr. Fukuyama. So you heard from the private sector, they need more of business matching. So how JETRO can respond to them? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Fukuyama, Managing Director of JETRO Cairo office. I'm very pleased to be here. As you mentioned, and other speakers mentioned earlier, the business matching is crucial, and finding partner is a key part of the business matching. And JETRO, the Japanese governmental agency for trade promotion and investment promotion, we support the Japanese companies meeting the international partners using our networks. We have offices all around Japan, and we also have 74 offices in the world. So we can utilize that network to do the matchings. And in the MENA region, we have 7 offices. If we divide Middle East, we have 5, and we also have 8 offices in Africa, so we can do the matchings. And of course, we cooperate with JICA and IGES and other companies, the organizations for business matching. And here, I'd like to mention that recently, Minister of Environment of Japan launched a new platform of networking. It's called Japan Platform for Redesign Sustainable Infrastructure. It's the long name. It's JPRSI. JPRSI. This is a kind of database of 462 Japanese companies which have a good technology for various issues to tackle the various environmental issues. So I'd like to recommend international companies, overseas companies, to use this kind of database to search what kind of Japanese technologies are available, and also what kind of Japanese companies can be the partner of his or her companies. And if he or she can narrow down the partners, maybe then JETRO can support. He can contact the JETRO and ask us to support the business conversation between the Japanese companies and his or her companies. Then our local offices or the Tokyo headquarters can support the business negotiations. That is the kind of things I'd like to mention first.
Thank you, Fukuyama-san. Yeah, really, you mentioned very good about the GPRSI as well as UNIDO. There is another platform, it's called STEP with ITPO, and also we have JITMAP. So what we are trying, all these kind of databases of technology, we will try to put them under our initiative JMENA Green. And this is for the technology part, and for the business matching, of course, JETRO will be very key player with us, and for the technical support, JICA and JBIC for the financial support. So we are trying to bring Japanese leader in each field, and we will try to pull them together to work in this under this platform. And again, from the private sector, they said we need return, we need financial support. So I would like to now go to the ISDB, the Islamic Development Bank key representative, to tell us how ISDB maybe is promoting the private sector in their work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rabi. I think first, I need to start by actually thanking IGES and JRC for this very interesting collaboration. And it's really, really hard to believe that this conversation actually started about a year ago, and we have achieved this much within a year. I think this is something that is actually worth commending, particularly you, Dr. Rabi, for the relentless effort.
Thank you.
In getting this to this stage. You've heard from us numerous times. You've heard from our entities. You've heard from colleagues from ICD. You've heard from colleagues from ISEC. You've heard from colleagues from ITFC about our willingness to actually support this collaboration. But before I actually go into what the bank can bring to the table, it's a fact to actually let us understand that the MENA region is actually undergoing one of the biggest transformation that history has ever experienced. We're seeing projects that will change the way we see city living, urban living. It will change it totally because of the magnitude and the gigantic projects that are happening in some of the countries within the region. Of course, you would also find that there are countries that are still trying to start climbing that ladder, but there are some that already have those plans well figured out. Now the question is, when you look at all these transitional, long-term, low-carbon climate resilient investment opportunities that countries within the region are putting forward. The question we need to ask ourselves, do we want to be part of it or we want to lose out from it? That's a fundamental question that we need to ask ourselves. Do we want to be part of it or do we want to just watch by the side and allow others actually take the lead on them? And that's why this sort of collaboration is very, very important. And for us, as a development bank, active within the region, virtually all countries within MENA region are our member country. It's even more important to us. But there are certain things that I think that are very crucial to talk about as we go into 2023, 2024 to advance this work. I like the fact that this whole thing is not just a project-based approach, it's a program. It's a program. We're looking at it from a perspective of, okay, matchmaking platform, knowledge generation platform, capacity building opportunities. So it's a mix of different things within a shop. So this is the good thing. But I think for us as a multilateral development, sharing with you from experience that we feel that one of the things that can help this sort of platform or engagement collaboration to be much more effective is that it has to be country-led and private sector driven. Those two things are very crucial. It has to be country-led and private sector driven because we want the countries to own it. It has to be owned by them. And not just that, but because we know that the bulk of the financing will come from the private sector, not even from us as MDBs. We will play a role to help the risk, to allow private sector actors to come into the picture. But in the end, it's still going to be the private sector players that will play that key role. And we have that experience. We have that experience in quite a number of our member countries where we've been able to actually go in, work with the private sector, with commercial banks, to be able to actually have those line of credit that will support some of these kind of initiatives. So this is something that for us, we feel very much happy to be engaging on. And we look forward to the subsequent stages that will come afterwards. Now, one last thing that we want to mention is that if we're looking at developing a collaborative platform that is going to be different from every platform, it has to be a platform that brings something that is different from every other platform, right? It has to bring something that is different, that
Agreed.
When you look at all the other platforms within the region, they don't have them. Things around capacity, awareness, technical assistance, those things are very crucial. That when countries, they think about solutions for their long-term strategy, what comes to mind is our platform, is this collaboration. They think about Japan. Those are the things that we want it to be on their mind. And the more they are aware of it, the more they continue to know that, okay, these are the key stakeholders that we can continue to engage. So having a platform like this is a very good starting point that provides the series of information that is available, that countries, private sector actors, they know the studies that we did. We know the needs. We know the seeds. We know what Japan can offer. We know the needs in the countries that we've looked at the MENA region. Now the question is about how much are we willing to take that to the countries? How much are we willing to take that to the private sector for them to know that this is what is available to you and these are the things that we can do. So from the perspective of the bank, I would want to go into those different instruments we have, from reverse linkage opportunities, from the TCP program of the bank, from the offerings, line of finance and credit that our private sector entities offer. They're just numerous, which everything are going to be on the platform, by the way. We're going to provide all those on the platform. So private sector actors within the region, they can see those opportunities that they can harness from. But in the end, I go back to the same point that I make. Let us ensure that it is driven by the countries, it is led by the countries, and driven by the private sector. I'm going to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought to stop you to keep this in my mind. So it should be country-driven and led by the private sector. That is very good message. And also, the platform should be innovative and different from other platforms. Again, when I'm trying to explain to the audience sometimes that, oh, we are launching a platform, I know their first reaction, they will be, oh, another platform. As I said, there is platforms focusing only on technology. There is platforms on finance. There is platforms on support. And sometimes each organization, they have their own platform. But I say our platform, it's kind of portal or the mother of a platforms. It's not the best. It's a complementary one. As, for example, if I want to search about my profile, I will go to LinkedIn, search, it will come up. So I want to say, one day our platform, once we say private sector, MENA, Japan, think J, MENA Green. They will go click what are the opportunity, what are the financial support, everything within clicks. And can you imagine if we are in a world with the 5G, with the internet access, so everything will be there and within portable. So we are looking ahead, and again I have to emphasize that now we are collecting the information for this platform, and hopefully we will launch it in COP28. So thank you very much, Dr. Yusuf. I would like now to come back for Dr. Majid to tell us about RICRI because from the expert perspective, what are the needs? But now I want to know more about RICRI. Have they worked with Japan before? Maybe with the European country? Do they see any opportunity with Japan? So how RICRI can work with us, or how we can work with RICRI? Are anything your thought from the RICRI perspective? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rabhi. In fact, what is coming to my mind now that two statements, in fact. One of them is speed is irrelevant if we are going in the wrong direction. And we need to decide which are the tracks that we should focus on. I mean Japan and MENA, so that we are having a quantum leap. This is one thing. The other part is that the best way to know your future is to shape it, to make it. And in fact, focusing, as RICRI is intergovernmental diplomatic organization, work as advisory provider to member states, advisory service provider, shaping the policy. We are the technical arm of the League of Arab States. We designed the Pan-Arab Sustainable Energy Strategy. We developed templates for action plans that the countries are adopting for renewable energy and energy efficiency, and we are managing now around 3,000 megawatts of projects in Egypt in terms of biodiversity, environmental impact assessment, and we are helping countries to develop master plans. We are helping countries to work on socio-economic impact assessment. We are working different portfolios, in fact, and also we are a knowledge hub, a lot of capacity building, a lot of matchmaking, a lot of what we call knowledge exchange missions between south to south and south to north. And frankly speaking, none of this has been conducted to Japan. It is mostly with Europe, UN organizations, and among the Arab countries, and to a limited extent toward Latin America and America itself, United States. So we are looking forward to initiate collaboration with Japan in this regard. And initiating collaboration will take different forms. And our advice, that knowing that there are plenty of platforms on the ground, that you somehow become also, in partnership with institutions like RICRI and the others, you can become a facilitator between different entities and different private sector, public sector, etc. And the role of facilitator here would exceed not only the introduction and matchmaking, but also would help accelerating the process. And the acceleration of the process is of a vital importance here. Accelerating the process of getting concrete project ideas, accelerating the process of planning, and helping getting the necessary elements for the ecosystem to work within these seeds that you have planted. And then afterward, helping to walk the talk, helping to in the implementation phase. And I'm telling here that you need to establish not only matchmaking or demonstration activities, but also being a part of, for example, if there is a financial facility, we can work together to become the technical advisor that would help to measure how the project is meeting or complying with the requirements of the finance.
So you already, before you got some finance from other entity and you implemented it.
And the requirements, so you can help preparing to have access to finance, and also being part of the implementation, supporting the implementation, providing technical assistance. And you can establish a network within the platform that can help having this technical assistance easily done. And then at the end, also the monitoring and evaluation and validation of the process and improving it. And you are the masters of Kaizen, as have been highlighted. the continuous improvement. And I assume bringing this element together, and we as RICRI, we are really, in fact, keen to initiate collaboration in all these stages, and also in building the capacities of our national institutions and the private sector operators and so on to tap into the knowledge of Japan. In fact, we have two needs in this regard: technology needs and financial needs. The other can be bridged. So these are my intervention here, and I hope I have answered the question.
Thank you. We need financial need as well as the technology and the finance and everything else. You have enough expertise, really good to know that, and also to know that you are advocacy, knowledge hub, so a lot of things that RICRI can help us in doing so. So now perhaps I will go one more for our Fukuyama-san. So I want to, perhaps this is the last intervention before to go, if anyone have a question in his mind. So I would like to take one question from the floor. So Fukuyama-san, JETRO has very long experience in the matchmaking, and now we are just coming in the field. So how JETRO maybe can maybe work with us, or maybe in the future, how JETRO is thinking to do in the future about this matchmaking. Is there any overlap with our work or any complementarity? Thank you.
Thank you very much once again. Good question. And the JETRO is really happy to work with a new network, a new platform by the ISDB and IGES and RICRI, Gulf Research Center and such, because the Japanese companies have a long history of participating in business in the Middle East, but they focus on the relatively big economy like Turkey or Saudi Arabia or Egypt. But we do not have much experience in the other companies like Tunisia, or we recently opened an office in Morocco, but this is still new. And maybe Libya we don't have, and Jordan. So we need to have local knowledge and the wide connection with the public sector. I think the RICRI and the ISDB and the other partnership organizations can help us. Yes. And of course, the JETRO have a long history for supporting Japanese companies, and we, as I mentioned, we have a network in all over Japan. So we can provide the connection to the Japanese company who have a technical solution. So that is a role I can expect we can do maybe in the platform.
That's really very interesting. You brought something to my mind. So joining the platform is not only kind of to give, but for example, if you are bringing a huge network, but also once you are working with the platform, you can get the knowledge from the RICRI and as well as maybe the ISDB serving 57 countries. So I think the knowledge is there, the information is there, and it's kind of, if I come back to Professor Takeyoshi when he said it's a win-win. So not only win-win to country or to private sector, but also within the member of the platform, it will be a win-win platform. So I would like to say, if anyone has a question from the floor, I would like to pick up. Okay. So any final word from Yusuf? Any final word? And then I will make a summary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rabi. I think one point that is very important to emphasize is that in whatever form the platform is, one thing that is very crucial in the end is that it should lead to investment. Project. That's very key. We are a financier. A platform that delivers investment. It's our go-to platform. Exactly. And I'm sure it's the same for companies in Japan and businesses in the MENA region. A platform that can guarantee that investment would come.
Yes.
That's the platform. So for me, I think that goal should not ever be missing from
Yes.
these overall collaboration. I think that's very key.
Thank you. And here again, I'll come to you. Here again is the part of the innovative of this platform. How is different? So this or demonstration case, actual implementation, continuity, all these things are part of the platform is unique. Thank you. So Dr. Majd, anything for you? Thank you.
I might get out of the box a little here. Many countries in the MENA region will need to go into a recovery phase after the usual geopolitical challenges they are facing. Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, etc. And we need to support the countries not to have again the same power sector or the energy sector that they had before, but to have a new smart system that is advancing them to the future. And here, a competitive edge for Japan, supporting a real energy transition so that we are not, again, getting the whole system working, which is not the case, but advancing with the energy transition in this country. I think with the smart technologies, with the innovation of Japan, we can help these countries. And this is an added value that you need to capitalize on and showcase clearly in the partnerships they are going to establish. So that this is adding, of course, to the excellent interventions of the colleague. And it all starts and ends with projects. I fully agree with you.
Thank you, Dr. Majd. I think a lot of things, and of course I have to summarize them, how we start the flow again. Like Professor Takeuchi start from the beginning that we need any partnership, it should be in a win-win partnership to be fostered. And then from the RICRI, we heard that when we are targeting country, we should, like, each country has its own specific, as well as also there is a lot of effort is ongoing about the public private partnership. And from the private sector, we heard that to foster the partnership, we need to engage the private sector, and to engage the private sector, we have to work on two fronts: more of helping them make informed decision through demonstration cases, through matchmaking opportunity, as well as through information. And if I say information, I say RICRI. If I say matchmaking, I say JETRO. If I say finance, we have the ISDB, and also all of this entity can work together. So I would like here to thank our panelists so much, very much. And with this, I will close to the panel discussion. And I would like to invite our representative of our esteemed and distinguished partner, the Gulf Research Center, and Dr. Muhammad, please, you can make the closing remark. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rafhi. So sorry to kick the panel. It was unintended. My name is Muhammad Abduraouf. I represent the Gulf Research Center. The Gulf Research Center is a think tank with a head office in Saudi Arabia. We have offices in Geneva and Cambridge. And as I echo what has been said by my colleague, Dr. Yusuf Alatonji, in fact, we have started this project earlier this year, so we are less than 1 year, but we can already see a lot of business matchmaking are happening. And I am happy for that, and special thanks to ISDB for hosting us here. Special thanks for our partner IGES. Special thanks also for all the audience for attending this session. I have just a few remarks. One of them, this is a very timely occasion. Since this is Energy Day, and we can see a lot of energy opportunities for business matchmaking between Japan and the Gulf region. Let me mention one piece of news which I just read early this morning, that Prince Salman from Saudi Arabia will visit Japan on 19th of November to discuss a number of issues, including energy with a focus of green hydrogen. So you can see that there is a dynamic going on and a lot of opportunities for business matchmaking between the two regions. In fact, the two regions, the cooperation with Japan is very old. So we have been cooperating since a long time, but now things are changing. Business opportunities are different. Competition is different. Targets are different. But this is the right moment in order to do some activities between the two regions, because most of the countries announced already 2050 or 2060 zero targets. How can this be achieved? This cannot be achieved unless private sector plays an important role. Not government, no international organization, only the private sector. So this is the right moment to have this business matchmaking. And in fact, there is a lot of opportunities, a lot of information, a lot of data there, but it's scattered. And as our colleague from JETRO mentioned, that you need to understand the culture. The culture is different now. The culture now is different than 50 years ago. The aspiration is different. And even within the region, different countries have different economic prospects, different economic conditions. Not only that, but also the competition between Japan and Europe and United States. So the whole dynamic is completely different. So this is the right moment in order to bring all these parties together, have a business matchmaking. And the most important aspect from my personal opinion is that you need to bring finance. You need to bring financial institutions, whether donors, whether investors, whether aids. So if you can make a demonstration of various projects, including the financial sector, this will be the most important, one of the key success for this. So in general, this is a timely moment for cooperation between Japan and MENA region with three important countries. In fact, we have Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Tunisia with a high potential. The whole MENA region is transforming to a green and clean industries. And I think this is a start of a fruitful cooperation between our three organizations. And we hope to expand this cooperation beyond our three organizations. And we hope by next COP28, we have the web platform already operational and working. And in this occasion, I would like to announce that we would like to sign an MOU with IGES. This was not known for anyone, only IGES and GRC. So if I kindly ask the president to come with me, and we sign this memorandum of understanding to kick off cooperation between our two think tanks in order to foster cooperation in environment and sustainability in various issues. Thank you.